Good day, Ruskin enjoyers. I hope each and every single one of you is doing all right there in the world. So it's time for the 48-hour analysis. Yep, as you can see right here, all of these skins appeared just 2 days ago, but we're going to go ahead and take a look at all of their sales data and get a good idea as to whether are these skins still holding up to potentially being very nice investments, or are there any potential problems that we need to be aware of. Some things might have appeared over the past 2 days, so keep that into consideration. Right, so what do we see right here in front of us? This is actually the first 24 hours of sales. Every week, I will always tweet out the first 24 hours of sales based on what we see on SCMM. If that's the interest of you, please consider taking a look at the description of this video right now, and you'll see links to all of my various socials and whatnot. I usually tweet out various interesting things in regards to the Rust economy on Twitter and whatnot, so if that's the interest of you, please consider taking a look. But anyway, 24 hours in, and we have 4 skins right here in front of you that did bare minimum 10,000 plus sales each. Now, if you were to compare that to previous weeks, this is pretty ridiculous. But I should point out, Halloween week 1, there were some very interesting, cool-looking skins here. It is a bit of an anomaly, but this isn't too much of a surprise. We've seen this happen before, especially with holiday rust stores and whatnot. So I can't really compare this with the previous weeks, but you can clearly see these skins they've got quite a lot of interest, which is a bit surprising. So let's now hop over to the likes of the 48 hours now, and as you can see, we've got a fair bit more sales, but it has cooled down a bit. So this is where I need to talk about what we have going on at the moment. So a lot of people probably by default assume that we were going to have the actual in-game Halloween content coming out when that Halloween Rust store appeared, but no, that didn't happen. We're actually getting it on Monday, October 23rd. So I'm under the impression that we're probably going to get an uptick in interest of these skins, as in we'll be seeing quite a lot more of these being bought during, well, at least after Monday, if that makes sense to you. Because when the actual Halloween content is in the game, maybe a lot more people feel incentivized to go ahead and buy these skins and decorate, and you get the idea, getting the Halloween feeling. So keep that in mind. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is talk about all of these skins and try and figure out whether they're going to be perfectly fine investments. But I have to quickly warn you, holiday-themed skins tend to struggle. Yes. Imagine this. Why would I want to use a Halloween skin when it's December, March, the summer? Do you understand that? So unless the skin doesn't look super gimmicky, sometimes they work out perfectly fine. But this is where we talk about the Grim Farm Garage Door. Awesome looking skin, amazing. Like it don't get any better than that for a perfectly themed skin around Halloween. But that is also its crux, because what's going to happen to this once Halloween's over? So now you have to consider that it's got pumpkins all over it, scary looking cat, scarecrow, creepy castle in the background and whatnot. Awesome looking design, awesome looking piece. But will people still want to use that whenever it's not Halloween? And based on what I've seen in the many years of the past, I just don't think it's going to work out well for it. And you might also consider, okay, well, Hedge, what about people who might want to buy in before next year's Halloween? It doesn't really work out that way. I could quickly show you last year's Halloween, so let's just hop over to there, and you can see that quite a lot of the skins during week 1 aren't really holding up very well. As you can see, you got the bearskin rug, which is fine because we hardly ever see bearskin skins being a thing, so that's held up quite nicely. We, of course, are well aware that with the likes of the Kraken Shell hoodie and pants being accepted 2 days ago, Kraken Shell Tier 3 did spike up in demand and spike in price. But all of these other skins here, they're not doing that good. Yeah, so I should point this out. Don't assume people like to invest into and buy into Halloween skins like Christmas skins. There's a lot more interest in Christmas skins every year, a whole lot more than the likes of Halloween. All right? So by default, if a skin is super gimmicky towards the likes of their holiday, more specifically a holiday skin, if it's super gimmicky towards its holiday, it very likely won't be holding up its value very nicely. And it is unfortunate to say, but we're looking at this from a financial perspective, and I'm sitting here telling you, be cautious. It's a cool looking skin, but yeah, I'm very concerned. You should also be well aware that we've had a lot of garage door skins accepted this year. Take into consideration, earlier this year we had like 2 given away for free, and then we had the charitable Rust one literally last week with the very cool transparency in the middle at head height. So yeah, we've had like 18 garage doors given away this year. It might be more, I can't remember. Was there any given away for Twitch Rivals? well, yeah. So, basically, some weird things have been happening over the course of this year. Far too many garage doors. And when you look at all of them right now, you can clearly see that they're not doing super good at the moment. Yes, it's October. I'm well aware. It's the absolute worst time for all skins in Rust. But this isn't a very good look, is it? Will things recover? I'm sure they will. Around post-Christmas time, I'm sure plenty of these will be back in a positive. But with the likes of this, I just don't think it's going to be retaining its value very nicely. Maybe it will do very nicely over the course of next year in the lead up to Halloween. Maybe, but again, you can clearly see I'm concerned about holiday skins. If it's not like Christmas, I just don't imagine it going back up in price super nicely in the future. And with the likes of this, whilst it's a very cool looking skin, and props to Johnny Old Boy for creating it, and congrats with all the sales that you had and whatnot, it's very likely not going to hold up very well. So my answer to you is, this is an abnormal skin, right? We can do our abnormal barders this Wednesday or Thursday, depending where you're on the world. And, well, we'll figure out how we're going to approach this based on what we might want to offer. And then, yeah, we'll attack it. We'll look at the barter support afterwards. And then we'll make considerations in regards to what we're going to want to do next. But I will sit here again and say, look, listen, if you like that skin, by all means, buy it. Use it. Support the skin creator. Because that's a cool looking skin. But when we're talking about the financial perspective, we're talking about, do I want to buy like 50 of these or 100? Could I potentially flip them in the future and make some great profits? With the likes of that, I'd probably rather stick with doing a buy order, if that sounds all right with you. Right, so with the likes of that, cool looking skin, but too gimmicky for the holiday. Now we're going to talk about the likes of this Spider Cocoon Furnace. Now, when you take a look at this, that looks cool. That looks creepy. That looks perfect for Halloween. But I will give it to it. I think you can look at that and say, it's not like too directly in your face in regards to this is Halloween. It's not like it's got like Happy Halloween all over it. It's not like it's got a pumpkin all over it and whatnot. No, it's just a very creepy furnace that's covered in spiders. But it also has this very cool green colour. And we did make this point in the investing video, didn't we? So let's just quickly hop over to here again, look at all the furnaces, more specifically the more expensive ones. And you'll notice that the furnaces that are more expensive, you see ones like the Toxic furnace right there. That's got a nice green interior. You got the likes of the Ghostly Flame furnace right here. Again, more turquoisey, but still a very cool green interior. Abyss furnace has held up ever so nicely throughout all of this year. Very noticeably purple interior. And then you also have the likes of Tribe furnace right there. Nice cool blue interior. And now you have this Spider Cocoon furnace with a green interior. Now you might sit there and say, is that it? Really? That's all that makes a difference? Pretty much, yeah. You don't see any other green or blue or purple interior furnace skin all the way down here. These are special, it seems. These are what people desire most. So, yes, you might sit there and say, but surely spiders are, linked with Halloween and are scary and whatnot. I don't blame you. That's perfectly fine. But I get the feeling if it's not covered in pumpkins or scarecrows or says Happy Halloween on it, it's probably going to do a whole lot better. I am optimistic for this. I really do think this is going to probably do very nicely. So, Jessin, number one, congratulations, wonderful skin here. Also, Xenia Paris, who helped you out and whatnot. I think that's going to be doing very nicely in the future. And you know what? You could probably try and turn this into a collection after Halloween. Consider giving it a shot. From Hell Collection basically does that. But yeah, with the likes of this, it's also abnormal. All right. I very much want to do my abnormal boulders first. Because when you look at all of the furnaces this year, you have to take into consideration that... problems. Now, I did speak up very nicely about last year's Halloween furnace, that being the zombie furnace. Unfortunately, he has, he's not in the best of positions right now. But again, his interior still was, yellow or orangey and whatnot. But one thing I should show you is its history. Now, as you can clearly see, he's cool in regards to his overall design. He's a very scary looking monster furnace. Look at him. Right. So right now he's currently selling for $1.65. If you look at all of this, it's got next to no resistance, but it hasn't been bought out. The price hasn't been rising that much. But what we should do is look at its history, and you can see it's actually rising. It's just it reached a very low point. All right. So it's not looking super great, but like most Rust skins at the moment, they reached their low point in October. And maybe, just maybe, when the actual Rust in-game content is added, this could recover. But I want to show you this more specifically. See, Halloween ended, it went down in price. But it doesn't matter. Post-Christmas rolls in, it went up in price ever so nicely. Went all the way up to about $3. Dipped again afterwards. That's fine. Went up a bit more in the summer. We had a lot of people playing in the summer, and this did rather well. But, that hype bit kind of ended, slowly started to descend downwards. So overall, if a furnace comes out, it looks very cool, and, that's not like covered in pumpkins and whatnot. That did all right. You could look at that and think, you know what? Maybe the likes of this Cocoon furnace could do just as well, maybe even better. So, with that being abnormal, I want to do my abnormal barders first. I want to see the support afterwards, and then I want to consider what we're going to do next. Because that, I really do feel like, nice and gradual, but probably slow, it will be rising up in price as time goes on. Alright? So, we shall see what happens next, but props to you, Jason and Zenny Paris, and, try and see if you can make like a door or something next week. Let's see what happens, because, listen, some collections have hopped out of the holidays that their skins their skin collections first started in, and they ended up getting more skins accepted outside of the holiday. So, come on, let's see what happens. Anyway, let's move on. Fridge from Hell. So, if you have been looking at my YouTube recently, you probably saw this video that I uploaded earlier today, the Twitch Drop Impact. And basically, we've been talking about how if an item suddenly gets really popular, it might get a lot of attention in regards to other skin creators and even content creators who might want it as a Twitch drop. With the fact that this has been the first marketable acceptance in about 3 years and instantly is selling very, very nicely, I wouldn't be surprised if that catches the eye of other skin creators and content creators. And that is something that we're going to have to be a little bit aware of, if you know what I mean. Consider watching that video, it will open your eyes, because that whole thing basically happened to lockers and locker skins, and whilst older locker skins used to be quite expensive in the past, with an abundance, or rather a surge of new content appearing, suddenly those older skins aren't so valuable anymore. But this right here, let's just talk more about this. Very cool looking furnace. Another wonderful continuation for the From Hell collection. Sir Q, you've done it again. It looks very, very cool, and it's been getting a lot of interest. Now, here's something I should quickly point out to you. If you're in game and look at this, when you look at it from the side, all the other sides are opaque. See how this is opaque here? If you could get another angle, yeah, you can see it here. You can actually see through that side, but then the other side, when you look at it, will be opaque as well. That's cool. So, guys, if you'd rather keep your food nice and warm and spicy... No, I'm joking, it does do that. But, you have to consider, are people actually using fridges and whatnot? Or better yet, will people look at that and think, you know what, I want to use a fridge now? But yeah, fridges, are they really that necessary? Are people actively going to be wanting to use the skin? Are people actively going to be wanting to use the fridges now? It's a bit awkward, right? It is a bit awkward. Then we have to take a look at the likes of the From Hell collection, and then it gets even more awkward, because you look at all of that and you might think, oh no, what's going on? Like I've said, the From Hell collection during the year doesn't seem to do very well in terms of retaining its value. The From Hell collection during post-Christmas suddenly is more in demand, and suddenly a lot more of these skins are in the positive again. It's awkward. So, honestly, I might be sticking with a barter in this one. It's also abnormal, so we can use that to our advantage. You get the whole idea, you get the spiel. But listen, this is the first marketable fridge skin in a long time, and you can't easily deduce how other people are going to behave and react with this, especially after it's left the rust store and whatnot. So we got to keep an eye on that one. But I'll be honest with you, who knows if we're going to suddenly see a whole lot more fridges being made? Who knows if we're going to see a whole bunch more of them being accepted? But you know how for last year's Halloween, I showed it to you a little bit earlier, we can take a look again. Do you remember we got that disco mask being accepted? And then, you might not remember this, but a lot more people went ahead and made the bone helmet skins. And, well, we did get one more afterwards, after Halloween, Raven Deerskull mask. That looked really cool, by the way. But, yeah, that was the only one that was accepted afterwards. But I must point out, I remember from, between here to here, there's another skull mask being produced in the workshop every other week. And there's usually a group of them as well. Because people saw the amount of sales that this got and thought, you know what? I want that too. And, well, Raven Deer Skull Mask was accepted, and that worked out very nicely. But after that, no more acceptances, so a little bit awkward, but you can see that if it sells very well, other people are going to notice. But we should give it to Sir Q for the wonderful, awesome-looking design. A lot of people like it, and I will stick here and say this again. Look, if you like it, by all means, buy it, use it, enjoy it, support the skin creator. But if you're cautious, do those abnormal barders first. Because, you know, financial perspective, we have to be a fair bit hesitant. This is like a newer thing to us, especially in the modern days, I guess you could say. So with that, the smartest approach is to take time. Be patient. Do the abnormal barders first. Look at the support afterwards. Then we make decisions in regards to what we're going to do next. Okay, sounds good. Right, awesome. Let's move on. Spooky Neon Small Box. So I've got to point this out. You might sit here and notice that Epic had an Easter small box accepted earlier this year. Now, there's a weird thing with this small box, because as you can clearly see, it came out during Easter, very gimmicky towards Easter with all the Easter eggs and whatnot, but this was actually in the positive for a fairly long time. I know, I just went on that spiel at the beginning of this video talking about, worry about holiday skins, but I don't know what happened, but this did very nicely. So, let's just go take a look at its history, and yep, you can see how it didn't really crash in price. But it kind of held out quite nicely for a fairly decent amount of time. Yes, it went down, of course, like most Rust skins. It is what it is, you know, absolute worst time for Rust skins. But this actually did hold up very nicely. So let's just do some quick comparisons. How many sales did this have? 15,700 bare minimum sales. How much does this neon spooky neon small box, how's that currently doing? 2 days in, 14,500 bare minimum sales. Ha. So that's a little bit concerning. This has sold pretty much the exact amount as that Easter small box right there. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of would be surprised if this is going to reach up to about 20,000 sales. And then you have to consider, does that look a little bit too gimmicky towards Halloween? It's got those pumpkins all over it. Oh no. Perfectly fine skin. No issues with that. I think it looks perfectly fine, but is that a little bit too gimmicky for Halloween? And I do believe during my Rust rotation video, I brought up a very nice comparison. Last year we had a small box skin being accepted, didn't we? It's right here, the pumpkin storage box. Glows in the dark. It's basically a pumpkin, very gimmicky towards Halloween, as you can clearly see. And right now, it's not really holding up very well. Right now, it is spooky month, and it's only $1.24. This sold for $1.99 last year. Where did it all go wrong? Well, this is the case again of people just don't seem to go wild for older Halloween skins unless they look really, really, really insane or amazing. Just doesn't really hold up very well. So just look at its history, and what do we see? It went up a fair bit during post-Christmas as well. So remember when I mentioned that furnace from last year? It did very nicely post-Christmas time. And after that, it dropped off, and then it just never really went anywhere and just stagnated. So yes, for a lot of these Halloween skins, by default, all Rust skins will have a very nice rise in price from their lowest point, maybe sometime, usually around October, but for these Halloween skins, it's November. And then all the way up to January time, they're going to peak up. But yeah, if you're looking at every single Halloween skin right now, you could put a fairly decent buy order down, maybe pick some up for a fairly cheaper price. You should still be able to flip them for a fairly decent profit around January time, all right? And with the likes of this small box here as well, you could still achieve that. So, again, this is also abnormal. You don't need to rush into buying this. But judging how I saw how the last year's box behaved, I think I'm going to stick with doing a barter on that one. But as you just saw, you can still make a pretty interesting looking profit. It just depends. How much are we going to probably want to offer for that? For now, I want to see how many sales that has. Then we'll make a decision how we're going to approach it. And with that, that's going to happen on Wednesday night when we're doing the Abnormal Barter stream. And again, if you're interested in the likes of that, please consider taking a look at the description of this video. You'll see links to the likes of all my socials. More specifically, consider taking a look at my Twitch. And yeah, you can always hop in when I'm streaming, ask a question, and I'll try my best to help you out. I might be playing a game, who knows, but if the timing's right, I can try my best to help you out. So with all of these abnormal skins, we of course will be approaching that way. And if you are unsure what I'm talking about, look at that video right there, Rust Skin Abnormal Buy Orders. It should be nice and insightful, and basically you could skip ahead with all the chapters that I produced, but I'll basically show you the process of me figuring out what prices I want to offer them, actually doing the buy orders, and then afterwards analysing and seeing how the skins might hold up. A very notable thing that happened this past week with the abnormal barders was both the what's it called again, Abyss hoodie and pants. They had barders going all the way up to $2 when they sold in Rust for $2. So after all of that, we realised, you know what? If you've got money to spend, you could actually go ahead, buy the Abyss hoodie and pants, and everything should be all right. So yeah, there was the justification in buying them. Sounds good? Perfect. Right, so with the likes of that, I'd rather stick with doing a buy order, and I very likely will be sticking with the buy order. So, yeah, financial perspective, it's probably smarter to just do a buy order. Right, spider web rug. Here we go. So, guys, I'm pretty sure at some point down the line, this is going to be exploitative. Something's going to happen where being able to see through a rug is going to be super, super helpful. Now, immediately you can point out the window thing, the window setup, in which you can quickly look around by looking through a transparent rug on the window. Some people might notice you. The rug will hopefully block most of the bullet damage. You can quickly seal up your window and whatnot. Yes. But is there anything else on your mind that you realise you could potentially utilise in such a way? I don't fully know. However, what else? What else? I mean, I'm going to cover it in spiderweb. If people try to raid my base, all their rocket launchers just get stuck on a web. No. I have been looking at it, and I have been trying to consider what else could potentially be used with this. I don't fully know. It's a very goofy rug skin. We should consider talking about all the rug skins that we've had this year. So ever since the Valentine's one, which was pretty goofy when I saw it, we have been seeing some pretty silly transparency on the likes of our rug skins this year. So we had the likes of this, which is basically a cutout. Then we had Kelp Rug, which has some noticeable transparency that you can see through. I don't remember if Grass Rug has that much. It has some. Let's just remind ourselves. Yeah, you can kind of see through it. But the main draw to that was the fact that you can basically drape your base exactly like the camouflage net. And, well, you know, with that base deco DLC coming out fairly soon, I think a lot of people might be wanting to have some nice inside gardens and whatnot. We shall see. But, yeah, this is like, there's nothing beating that in regards to transparencies there. So, it's awkward. It really is. But I just can't help but think, in some way or form, there's going to be some other way in which this is going to be exploitative. And this is where I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe I have to buy some just to be prepared for anything. Again, this is also abnormal, so I'm not going to immediately chase after it. I'm going to do my abnormal barders first. Then, you know, afterwards, we'll look at the support. And then, yeah, we'll consider buying after that. But what do you reckon? Feel free to comment, you know, on the YouTube for this. And I'm curious to hear what you think, but surely. I am reminded of last year's rug skin that we had accepted for Halloween 2022 week 2. That being the here it is, where are you? It's the From Hell rug. That's it. Sorry, my brain. But yeah, looking at that, literally after this Rust Door disappeared and we had the new one, this doubled in price instantly. Now, someone was commenting saying that some bigger YouTuber was being very influential and kept telling everybody to buy it, so maybe that was half the reason why it did immediately so well. Also, by default, glow-in-the-dark rug, very nice to have in your base and whatnot. And yeah, you could basically pretend the inside of your base is full of cultists and whatnot. But like, that rug we have here doesn't glow in the dark, does it? No, it doesn't. So, it's got some usages for other reasons, but what are all the potential reasons right now? Then again, you could just own both of those rugs and be prepared for anything. Hey, maybe that is the answer, but looking at that, I'm cautious. So that one's definitely going to be an interesting thing to approach and keep an eye on afterwards. So as time goes on, we shall see. But I'm sure you can understand my curiosity. I'm sure you can understand that something down the line is going to get found out. It's going to be spread all over TikTok, and suddenly it's super expensive. And what's it going to be? So for now, let's just leave it. Let's start talking about Necro Tier 3. So I made a big joke in regards to when I first saw it. Green armor. Cool, we got ourselves some more budget forest raiders. Well, not really for the face mask. Face mask has that big pinky red brain. You're still going to get noticed with the likes of that. Now, I will point this out. That is a very, very, very goofy looking face mask. You're probably not going to see many other face masks in the future with that much transparency. Will that be appealing to a lot of people? we shall see. But this is also abnormal, the face mask. We can use that to our advantage. We can do the barders first, and then we can look at the support afterwards. But pushing that aside, this chest plate is not abnormal. This chest plate is just basically fully green. This chest plate you could actually look at and consider being cheaper green camouflage. Yeah, it's got some bones and whatnot, but at distance, that's still going to be like perfectly green and perfectly fine in the foresty areas and whatnot. So I think that chest plate actually might have a better future ahead of it. But we should also consider, right, Hedge, have you actually looked at all the chest plates and noticed that there were some other ones that were green? So let's just quickly remind ourselves. I do remember there was one quite some time back. Now, you might sit there and say, UFO chest plate, Hedge. Well, that one doesn't really blend in very nicely with the likes of any of the foliage in the game, so I'm not surprised that it didn't do super good. Even the Elite Crate chest plate has gone down a fair bit in price. We never got that tier 2 armor, which is a shame. But when times are good, this does a whole lot better. You know, when people are trying to get some matte green camouflage, but they don't want to spend too much money, they're probably going to look at likes of Elite Crate. And then with the likes of a kilt, maybe they'll just use Reptile Hunter kilt as a nice replacement to fill in the gap for the tier 3 armor. But going down a fair bit more, of course, you can see the devilish Forest Raiders chestplate right there. But I am reminded of the Franken chestplate. Remember this? So this was utilised as some budget green armour in the past. This sold for 99 cents, good few years ago, but as you can see with its history, what happened there? People made a big fuss about it, people were talking about it. This is the perfect go-to budget option if you can't afford the likes of Forest Raiders and whatnot. Could another video in the future be said in regards to our wonderful Necro chestplate? So if that sounds appealing to you, keep an eye on that. If you really do feel like something like that might happen in the future, consider purchasing it. But we should quickly remind ourselves. So how did that perform, you know, after Halloween when it came? Oh yeah, it went down really cheap in price. Can you see my really low ball barder here? I actually bought some for about 25 cents American. Yeah, I knew how that was going to turn out initially, but of course, as time has gone on, people have changed, TikTok has appeared, and all some people have to do now is just sit there and say, skin good, and then everybody buy. Yeah, that's basically it now. So this has probably got a fair bit of a future ahead of it now, which is perfectly fine for it. But could we see the exact same thing potentially happening with the likes of our new chestplate? That's the main point I'm trying to get across to all of you. So, yeah, do you like the face mask? Do you like the chestplate? What do you feel about these two? Feel free to comment. But I've pointed out some things I've noticed in the past, brought up some context. It's in your hands how you approach this now. This one is abnormal, but this one is not. Sounds good? Let's move on. Kraken shell hoodie and pants. Right, so this actually might work out all right. I wouldn't be surprised if next year we get Kraken shell tier 2 armor being made and, you know what, being accepted. Core pieces, guys, core pieces, all right? But that's going to take a year, all right? And, you know, last year, immediately when the Halloween rust all, you know, disappeared or rotated to the next one, I think this was week 1, yeah, this struggled pretty quickly. I bought a lot of these for super cheap. I sold them. Damn it. But anyway, when this appeared, this spiked in demand, this spiked in price. Right now, this is selling for $1.26 now. And this chest plate, unfortunately, because there's a lot more of them on the Steam market, which we can see right now, as you can see. Yeah, this has gone down in price. It still is better than where it was before, you know. It's basically doubled in price, but it's kind of like not as good as what it was when the hype moment happened. So what happens after this? What happens after this? I wouldn't be surprised if all of this ends up in a negative again. Wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. I also wouldn't be surprised if next year, like I said, Kraken shell tier 2 is made and is accepted, and then all of this spikes in demand, spikes in price all over again. So that would mean you're probably better off just doing a low ball barter on all of these. Yep, all of these all over again. So maybe the best thing to do is take a look at this tier 3 armor, see how low it went, you know, so right now, as you can see, $1.27. Look at this history. Initially, it went down at its cheapest points probably selling for about 55 cents to 60 cents American. Still went up in price for post-Christmas time, as you can see. That still persists. So went up to $1, went back down again afterwards. So I reckon maybe a good 50-cent buy order is going to be perfectly fine. That's probably the way we're going to approach it, because I wouldn't be surprised if it all goes back down again, especially the likes of this. But with this, yeah. I've got to say, though, awesome design. Like the fact that you have the actual Kraken right there for the hoodie. It's the actual hood as well. City, that is a awesome design. And the fact that you brought to the equation something completely different in comparison to what everybody else did. We've got zombies, pumpkins, spiders, hell. But no, you did like deep sea horror. Nobody else was doing that, and I'm not surprised that was accepted. So congratulations for your continuation. In the future now, where's that tier 2 armor? Huh? Has anybody asked? That's actually a good question. Hey Ziddy, how are you going to continue this next year? I haven't seen that. What about over to here? Well, we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? So, yeah. Goofy stuff. Right then, so with the likes of that, I'm probably just going to stick with doing a buy order. Right then, Zombie Saw. Okay, so you should be well aware that this is actually a glow-in-the-dark Saw. The face and the brain, that's the parts that glow, as you can see right there. That is the only part that glows. So you kind of need to consider this. Look, at night, do you reckon that could actually be useful? You're not going to get a glow-in-the-dark aim sight ever again. Face punch does not want that whatsoever. But if you could align it, get a good idea of the distance between the brain and the tip right here, you could, by muscle memory, at night time, know if you're going to shoot someone, whatnot. That could be utilised very nicely. And again, you might sit there and say, pay to lose, people can see you. That glow-in-the-dark part is facing you, your chest. So consider that. If someone's behind you, they're very likely going to be shooting you regardless, right? Could you see that being utilised in a way at night time to be beneficial for yourself? I can't answer that by myself. I need to hear more people throw out their opinions there and whatnot. Test it out for yourself if you'd like it. That's probably an answer I'd give to you. But by default, based on all the performances of the SAR skins this year, I will sit here and say that this is very likely to go below its rust or price. Number one, yeah, it's fairly gimmicky with Halloween, the zombie stuff and whatnot, but just take a look at all of these SAR skins and yeah, they're not doing super good. It's not like there's a problem with them. If anything, the SAR is one of the most used weapons in the game at the moment, isn't it? But weirdly, yeah. How many of these exist? 111. That's not like... well, you know what? It is quite a lot. It is quite a lot. As you can see here, we have many options. For $3, you could pick up many different skins. In fact, why don't we just go take a look at highest price, for example. And then, for $3, I could buy the Chameleon SAR. I could buy the Toy SAR. I could... Oh, Drake SAR, is that closing the dark? I don't know. Retrowave SAR, $3 still, Rainbow Pony SAR. I like ponies. Candyman for a little bit more. What about less? You got the Pharaoh SAR there. You probably don't want SAR from Hell. That's all glow in the dark. Redemption SAR, for example, 50 cents less. You got the Hellcat SAR right there. It's about 80 cents less. People will make comparisons like that. And that is where we have problems for the likes of this zombie SAR. So I wouldn't be surprised if that goes below its rust or price. I wouldn't be surprised if it potentially struggles for a fair bit. But, like I said, if it's true that the glow-in-the-dark isn't super noticeable and can be utilised in a way which actually is beneficial for you, maybe this might work out very nicely in the future. Remember, one TikTok video is all it needs, and then it magically goes up in price insanely. So we shall see, but for now, it's abnormal. I'm going to do my abnormal barders first, look at the support afterwards, then make considerations in regards to what's to happen. But I'm very likely only going to stick with doing a barder. Alright? Okay. Zombie Bang LR300, 70 cents, 90 cents. But no, okay, let's properly explain this. LR300s, how often are you using them? Yeah, that's the situation, gun demand. So we had quite a big talking about the Chameleon LR300 last week. If anything, that's a great thing to bring up. Who's going to want to buy an LR300 when we literally just had this, last week? Awkward timing is all, I will point out. But yeah, We literally just had a very cool looking, shiny, holographic LR300 in the Rust store, about 12,000 of these sold, and it's part of a well-established and very cool looking collection. We do expect even more of these being made and accepted in the future. Clothing and armour included, maybe even deplorables. I wouldn't rule it out with the likes of Mr. Emilio Frito. But anyway. With the likes of the LR300 that we have over here, it's just... Look, nothing wrong with it. Perfectly fine, perfectly cool. I could see it selling fairly nicely. It's all zombie flesh, rotted, green, yellowy, pussy. But LF or FER, I just can't imagine people are going to be going absolutely rapid for it afterwards. And I can prove that. Look at it. If you take a look at all of the LR300 skins that came out this year, you can see that there's clearly problems. The sheer lack of gun demand leads to the sheer lack of demand to use skins. Therefore, a sheer lack of demand for actual skins, therefore cheap skin prices. All of these LR300s that came out this year, bar the Chameleon LR300, which only just about came out, all less than $1. People are turning these into metal. That's what's happening. So, yeah, people did not have faith in them. People just started ditching it and turning it all into metal and whatnot. So, yeah, unless we see some very impressive buffs for the likes of the LR300 in the future, or if you can actually make it in the game and whatnot, I just can't imagine these random one-off skins are going to be doing all right. Only the ones that are part of well-established collections will retain their value. So, that right there, you're probably going to be doomed to 70 cents, 90 cents. I wouldn't be surprised by it. So that's going to be my answer. 70 cents, 90 cents by order. Then we have Zombow. And I thought this looked really cool. Shedmon did a very cool job with this. You got some transparency right here for the creepy teeth. And you got a little eyeball there just kind of screaming. Oh no, that's just ooze. Oh, it doesn't have eyes. Maybe he's blindfolded. Ah, yeah, that's kind of cool. But anyway, cool looking design, but the issue is people don't seem to be super fond with the more recent bow skins. If we just take a look at all of these, you might notice a bit of a problem. And what's that? Yeah, they're not really holding up super great. Chemical Bow's doing quite all right as of now. In fact, I need to talk about that. Is that actually being held up? Buy orders aren't really matching up to it. There's a big talk about this because it's sold so little that we're under the impression it potentially might be manipulated in the future. But let's not worry about that for now. Down 42, down 53, down 48, down 33, down 53, down 49, yeah. What's going on? People don't seem to like bow skins anymore. Well, again, for the price of about, let's see here, $2 it is, yep. You could potentially go ahead and a little bit more buy Comics Bow. For the same price of, cheaper, you could get a No Mercy bow. You could offer another $1 and get the likes of a tempered bow. You could save 50 cents and get a rainbow pony hunting bow. There's loads of other options. It's not like we have an abundance of them, but there's clearly, with the money, would people prefer to have rainbow ponies or a scary-looking zombie bow? I don't know if I know all Rust players personally, but maybe they might have some preferences. But anyway, they don't seem to be holding up very nicely. All skins are suffering, blah, blah, blah. You've said that for like 4 times already. Yep, but it's very likely destined to follow all of these. And I guess you could sit here and say it's fairly gimmicky towards Halloween, but we don't really have anything like this. And if this doesn't sell that much, do you reckon that might get manipulated as well? Well, 2 days in and 5,600 bare minimum sales, I'll be honest with you, I get the feeling it's going to probably sell too much to be considered to be manipulated. We shall see. But with the looks of this at the moment, and based on what I've seen with the other hunting bows, with a financial perspective, I'm going to sit there and say I'm probably going to stick with doing a buy order. I'm not sure how much, but it's probably going to be like the LR300, 70 cents, 90 cents. However, with all of these skins today, even though I've talked about them and had some concerns or had some very nice positives to say, look, by default, if you like the skins, by all means, buy it, use it, support the skin creators, keep them all nice and motivated to want to keep putting out very nice creative designs every single week. You get the whole spiel. But with a financial perspective, I'm always concerned. Right, so that's a wrap with all the skins. Let's start talking about what we can expect with the likes of Monday. So, with this, we are expecting the actual Halloween items to come out this Monday. I don't fully know what everything is going to be in regards to, is it only going to be in-game content, or is some of it going to be stuff you can actually buy? So, again, let's hop over to the commits. We've been seeing quite a lot of noticeable things being mentioned here. Dracula Mask, Dracula Cape, Stake. Stake sounds like it's actually be something you can actually find in-game. So I'm under the impression it potentially might not be something you buy. But with the recent mentions of the cape, it looks like we're now getting a special shirt/vest that goes with it. I'm under the impression now that the mask and the cape are going to be the things that we can buy. Don't fully know yet. That's a thing I'm not 100% sure of at the moment. We're going to find out on Monday. So I would like to point out that on October 23rd, on the Monday, I will be streaming. And we'll be sitting there, we'll be preparing ourselves, because there's one thing I have to point out. If we have brand new items in the Rust store this Monday, that means next Sunday we're going to have to do abnormal builders, because with every brand new item that's introduced to the game, every brand new item that's introduced to the game during any holiday, it by default will be abnormal. And considering that it's coming out on a Monday, well, it's going to be Sunday night going into Monday morning. Next week we have to do the abnormal boulders. That's fun, isn't it? But yeah, that's going to be something that we're going to have to talk about. But yep, we're going to have to wait and see on the day what's going to come out. So that's, to be precise, Monday, October 23rd, 7 o'clock in the evening, UK time. All right, so make comparisons for time zones with the UK. You should get the whole idea of that. Awesome. And I should also point out, please consider going through all of these skins here in this list, because you never know, you might be able to deduce what potentially might be picked for next week. We've had a lot of items already get their skins accepted. Maybe some other items will finally get some acceptances. Like, we had so many Sheepman Adore skins being submitted for Halloween, but not a single one was accepted for the first week. Sorry, my voice went a little bit funny there. I got a little bit dry. Point I'm trying to make is there were so many submissions for many door skins, but only a single door was accepted. That was strange. Maybe next week has a whole lot more. We shall see. But yeah, consider looking at all of that. And there's one extra thing that I need to point out to all of you. Something is cooking. Something appears to be happening for Rust. Maybe towards the end of this year. So what are you about, Hedge? What are you going about? Have you seen this this tweet by Alistair? Have you seen this? Rust on Twitch in December is going to be hype. If you're a streamer or a viewer, lots to look forward to. I must reiterate, in December this year, it's going to be the 10th birthday for Rust. Something's coming. Keep an eye out. Something to do with Twitch. Keep an eye out. So, yeah, keep an eye out. Something's coming. Something special probably for its birthday. So with that, thank you very much for watching me today. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you all enjoyed yourself. And feel free to comment in regards to all the stuff that we talked about today here. And what do you reckon's coming in December. Catch you all later. See you, goodbye.